Hey Rob,
What's up, Michael? How are you? Let me
I'm
just
good, man. How are you?
start recording here. Okay. You're going to be coming to our area. You're going to be back at Jones Beach on July 2nd with Carlos Santana. And I spoke to Carlos a couple weeks ago, and he was saying how he calls you the Medicine Brothers. I said, what is it about the Doobie Brothers that you like going out with on tour? He goes, well, they're the Medicine Brothers, so it's always fun.
Oh, it is.
It's
It's a
a
lot of
great
fun.
lineup. This is like a quintessential summer lineup coming to Jones Beach, and you've been here a million times before. So, what is it about the area, especially Jones Beach, that makes you come back every year or almost
Well,
every?
I think one, it's just such a historic venue, to play, and I don't know why. It's just I always look forward to getting that one gig in the tour at Jones Beach. It's the summertime. It's New York in the summer. It's all those things, that
Sure.
we really love about playing on the East Coast during the summer months. And I guess it was a Guy Lombardo who started the venue years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah. In fact, where the orchestra is, it used to be the moat, and then the
Yeah.
seats were over. But yeah, I don't remember that, but I've seen pictures.
Yeah, he used to pull up his boat and get off his boat and
Yeah,
play and then get back on his boat and float away. But yeah, so it's a wonderful venue to play. We have a lot of good friends in the area that come to that show, and so we get to see them. And but the audiences are always great at Jones Beach. It's always a really game New York audience. And I remember playing there with Steely Dan a few years back, and it was always a great homecoming for that band, because they were at that point where they were the New York band,
yeah, uh-huh. And
kind of like the Young Rascals in the '60s,
yeah, well, he's still doing stuff, Felix Cavalieri, and
Oh, yeah.
the Steely Dan. I don't know if you were aware. You're talking about the oldies circuit, but they used to be in Jay Black's band before they were Steely Dan.
That's right. Yeah, Jay and the Americans. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, which is kind of funny. They would tell, Jay always would tell that story here on the island. I was looking up because I try to do research so I don't sound stupid when I do these interviews, and I did see that you guys did. I keep forgetting just a few days ago, and that's a song that, at least according to what I read, you with the Doobie Brothers haven't played since 1982. So is that like was that a planned thing, or is there going to be more surprises? You guys throwing in stuff, different nights, different shows?
Well, it was one. I think I was the most reluctant to do it, because I felt like, coming back to the band, we should kind of stick with the band's material. I was kind of reluctant to throw in anything from my solo years. I didn't know how the audience would really react to that, and but the Pat and Tommy had brought it up a couple times, and some of the other guys in the band, and so I kind of just caved on it, and I said, well, let's work it up. But I knew the band would play it well because the first time I ever played the song live was with the Doobie Brothers, and we played it at a big one of our last concerts in Chicago, and and I saw a tape of it not too long ago, and it sounded great. It sounded as good as a record to me, and I had no qualms about the band playing it or doing a good job playing it. And I'm kind of glad we did it because it seems to, the audience seems to enjoy it, and the song has its own, audience out there, and uh, so it's kind of fun to do it with those guys again.
Yeah, and what about, backpedaling on that question? What about a song that you wrote either with the band or solo that you think maybe deserves a little more love? And do you ever say, maybe we should play this one tonight and see how the fans react to it?
Well, we've all of us have pulled in and out a few of our songs for a little while. We were doing "Clears the Driven Snow," which I hope we do again. Because I really enjoyed playing that song, one of Pat's songs, and the audience loves it. It's a kind of an iconic Doobie Brothers song. "Eyes of Silver" is another one I really enjoy playing.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, and we did "You Belong to Me" for a while, and the band always, for me, playing those songs with the Doobies is something special. I've played those songs with my own band over the years, and they kind of evolve with the different groups of musicians you play with.
Hmm.
But coming back and in many cases going back to some of the more original arrangements, we do Keeps You Running, and I love playing it with the band, and it has evolved quite a bit. I'd almost like to go back to that original arrangement just for fun and let the audience kind of hear us play it that way. I think it would bring back some memories for all of us.
Sure.
And I was surprised at how much slower the record was than what we do today. Uh,
Yeah.
But I think it would be fun to kind of revisit that original arrangement and just kind of have that moment where you hear that quirky little keyboard come in the front, and
Oh yeah.
yeah. So in a little drum machine, we had like a 808 uh, Korg drum machine back then that we used on the record, and it was just things that we didn't have anything else to use at the time, and it came to be that people actually sampled those sounds later because
Yeah.
they liked them.
You were ahead of your time. You didn't even know it.
Yeah, right.
And I'm going to throw out. I don't know if you've been doing this all morning, so you probably heard it. But I want to throw out two words to you. What do you think of now when you hear yacht rock? To me, that was a genre that used to be called soft rock. I think yacht rock sounds much better than soft rock.
Hey, I got no complaints with yacht rock. It's like for us. I wonder if anybody would even remember who we were if it weren't for oldies radio and yacht rock and all those things. And of course, I was never going to be able to escape it because my son, when he was 11, he's almost 40 now. He was into the early episodes on the viral videos of episodic videos of yacht rock, and he would make me watch them with him, and we would laugh, and I used to tell him, I said, hey, you're already a musician. I said, someday when your music becomes less relevant, your pathetic comic value may come in handy, so don't laugh too hard. But it was always fun to watch him, and then Family Guy stuff. But we we've had a lot of fun with it, and it's become a genre
It
almost.
has.
And if I had to think of a group of bands or guys that I would want to be associated with, I can't think of a better group that I'd rather be known to be a part of than the yacht rock, the bands that are considered yacht rock today.
And they're all
Eagles.
classic bands. Yeah, Eagles, even like England Dan, John Ford Crowley, one of the guys I work out with at the gym, he jokes around. He goes, does Bertie Higgins have any other songs besides the ones they play on the yacht rock stations? I go, he does. He's got more songs about Casablanca, in fact, on that album. It's funny, Michael, you're talking about, viral videos with the guys that coined the term yacht rock. Back in the 70s, the only things that were, the big three of media, radio, TV, newspapers, you're getting so much exposure. So I don't think even if people didn't remember the Doobie Brothers, you would have found exposure because of social media. But in 1978, when you did the What's Happening episode, that was like a big deal. So how much, I guess, exposure did the band get because of that and the power of TV back in the late 70s?
It was interesting because our publicist talked us into doing what was a taboo for any self-respecting rock band, which was go on network television, and later on, all these bands were doing commercials and stuff that
Sure.
they used
Yeah.
to only do in Japan, because you wouldn't do that in America if you wanted to keep your steam as a rock band. But we did it, and it was amazing. We had a lot of fun. First of all, the crew was and the cast and crew were a lot of fun, and it was to me a very iconic show that I think so many of those shows in the '60s that really brought us all together. We all realized how much alike we are, and
Yeah.
it had a huge audience of like 9 to 10 year old kids who later grew up to be our audience in the whole next decade.
Yeah.
We'll be forever grateful for that. The kids that watched that show religiously who had no idea who we were, but all of a sudden, the Doobie Brothers was something they were interested in. And they would come to our shows for the next 10 and 20 years.
That was like me. I
So
was a child in the 80s, and so I would see it in reruns, and no pun intended, but that's how I found out about the Doobie Brothers. So it's because of What's Happening.
sure, yeah, no, it was a lot of fun to do, and in those times we were known for doing kind of things that other bands would never be caught dead doing, but we were kind of game for anything, and we had great fun. We got to tour and open for and play with so many great bands that became iconic. Ambrosia, Christopher Cross. All the bands that years later became iconic in their own right, and we got to see those bands emerge onto the scene, and it was a lot of fun. And I don't think any of us looking back would have ever dreamed that we'd be taking the stage together in our
Yeah.
70s. Look, when I hear those songs that Carlos plays at the top of his set, and I realize that those are the songs at Woodstock that changed musical history.
Yeah.
Well, the incredible rise of acceptance of American Latin music, music that was born in the Americas, evolved in the Americas.
Sure.
It's not European. It's here. It's Afro-Cuban, Puerto Rican music. This uh, salsa, merengue, sambas. All the stuff that we know is purely American and evolved here. Carlos he led the charge on that in the 60s. He
Yeah.
brought that to national attention, and it all at once again in the tradition of guys like Tito Puente and the guys in the 40s and 50s who brought it to the attention of American audiences. He took it up another level, and he was really the leader in that whole movement that reminds America that this is truly American music. This is about America. This isn't about uh, immigrants from another place. This is the Western Hemisphere. This is where this happened, and none of us are any more uh, uh, have any more of a right to this tradition than we all do.
Yeah.
We all came here for different purposes, different reasons, and under duress. Some of us, but the point being that none of us deserves what America has to offer more than the next person, and unless we're all included. And that's what I think Carlos's music is about, and I think that's what we try to put across on the show. And Carlos really leads the charge on that. He's been hard to keep up with. He's very spontaneous.
I
So
think
the
you should come
show,
out and do that every night. I mean, it's the
oh, we
250th
do.
birthday of
I mean,
America. You should say that.
it went from being two bands playing two separate time slots, the first show, to immediately becoming this cross pollination of like a 4 hour show of both bands.
Oh, wow.
And we're doing everything from the OJs to the Youngbloods to Buddy Miles, and we just Carlos a couple nights just kicks off something on guitar, and we all better be ready to follow him. And the audience loves it. They're right there with us.
Oh yeah, what's not to love? Watching the Doobie Brothers and Santana jamming together. I know that you've been doing this all morning, so I don't want to keep you. I'll ask you one more question or two. But you were talking about how you watch Carlos playing these songs from Woodstock. Is there still any moments in your life that you would describe as a pinch me moment for you after doing
Oh,
this all this time?
almost every one of them, and especially on this tour. Because like this tour, like so many, I don't think any of us, if you would have asked us back in the or 70s, when you're 74 years old, you think you'll still be taking the stage with these same people.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of us would have dreamt that.
No.
It just wouldn't have made sense back then. But here we are, and so, as you can probably imagine, nobody's more grateful than we are. It's not lost on us how fortunate we are to still be doing this. And not that I'm crazy about crawling into a bunk on a bus at 75 years old, but as long as I can still make it up to the top bunk, I'm happy.
Yeah.
And being out here with my friends making music, I never dreamed I'd still be doing that at 74 years old. So I'm more than grateful.
And I was talking about that with the bunks with a friend of mine who was on the road a lot. And is it still the rule of the road in bunking on a tour bus? No number two on the bus. You got to wait till you get to the hotel room for that.
That's still very much alive. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Michael, thank you so much for hanging out, and we look forward to seeing you here on Long Island on July 2nd with Santana.
Thanks, Rob. Hope to see you there, buddy.
Absolutely.